All right, we are live. Tonight's show on Autobody Repair. We've got a couple guests with us. One having some technical difficulty. He'll be joining us here in a second. In the meantime, we're going to talk to Aaron Kasaya. He's from upstate New York. He's a co-worker of Goodrich Auto Works.
Oh, getting some feedback. If any of you are watching the show or have the audio coming off your phone or something, you're going to have to mute that.
Yeah, please mute any other electronic
now.
Thanks. All right, so Aaron, talk to us. Goodrich Auto Works, your co-owner. How did all that happen, bud?
Yeah, so my dad started the shop in 1977. So we were just struggling right along here. He started with 4 employees. We're up to 35 now. We're heavily DRP, a lot of direct repair relationships with insurance companies. Unfortunately, my dad passed 2 years ago, so I kind of took over since then. But we're still growing and staying at it.
Awesome. So, when you came in, did you go to any vocational school, any classes, or your dad just give you a block of sandpaper and tell you to go to work?
Yeah, if you wanted a car and pay insurance, you had to work, I literally rode the school bus here after work to work. I worked here after school, worked here during summers. I kind of received all my training here. I've never been to a vocational school. Obviously since a lot of certifications and things of that nature. But actually I went to college for engineering. Then I did that for 2 years and went on to, get my bachelor's, and it just wasn't for me. I was more of a hands-on type guy, and came back to the shop here, got my bachelor's in business and turning wrenches and, fixing cars. So about 10 years ago, then I've been on this side of it, estimates and things of that nature until today.
That's awesome. So what's the first thing? So they just give you a block of sandpaper. What's the first step? When you went into that shop after school, you got that bus there. What's the first thing they had you doing? Sweeping the floors?
Sweeping the floor, washing cars. That's where a lot of people get their start. Then just getting familiar with cars, tearing them apart, putting them back together. I mean, that's a big portion of it. Straightening the metal and doing the body work, that all comes in time and takes a lot of practice. Just being able to come in a few hours after school and do some of that. I worked a lot in the paint shop, prepping cars, and things of that nature. Just got heavily into the structural repair and stuff of that nature, after school.
How long did it take till they let you get in that spray booth?
Oh goodness, a while. It takes a while, and I'm going to date myself, but that was back when we were edging parts. Now they paint all the pieces off the car, then assemble it. Back in the day, you'd edge all the parts, then hang everything, so you couldn't really ruin anything too much by edging pieces and stuff. But it takes a while to get in there and actually spraying cars.
Now, Aaron, hold on, just clear me up with one thing. Say what you just said again.
About
people that don't, the difference between those two things. Go ahead, Aaron.
There we go. Sorry, hit a button there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yeah, we got you. Yep.
So part of, efficiency, getting cars, painted faster, things of that nature, trying to make the repair process as fast as possible. There's different techniques we do. Back, years ago, you'd get a part, say you're replacing a fender on a car, you'd paint the inside portion of it, then bolt it to the car, then paint the exterior, paint the exterior.
Oh, okay.
So now, though, almost every piece we can take off the car, we're painting the fenders, hoods, and doors and everything off the vehicle to save on booth space, get multiple jobs together, then reassembling it on the car after it's painted.
Oh, wow. So you don't paint the whole thing together, you paint the components.
That's correct. Yep.
And they're all painted up from the same shade of paint. I mean, from the same gallon of paint or whatever.
Well, each car is a little different. Obviously, every car, different color, obviously. And we go by the paint code, also by the VIN number. But there's a lot of variance. So it depends what manufacturing plant the car was painted at. You might have a car, a 2020 Ford F-150, but depending, what plant it came out of or what batch of paint, it might be a shade or two different. So there's a little art to make sure you have the correct shade to make sure the paint matches.
Yeah, I'm amazed by your trade. I mean, I've had, obviously I've been in the industry trades for a long time. I've owned a lot of vehicles, a lot of trucks. I've had some dinged up, dented up. And I'm always amazed when something can go to a auto body shop and come out looking like nothing was ever wrong with it. And just from the color, forget about dents, forget about filling gaps and all that stuff. Just the paint part of it. I just am amazed at that, because that's an eyeball thing, right?
Oh, absolutely. And obviously, somebody with experience, trained eye will catch things compared to other things. But it's a lot of, it takes a lot of practice. A lot of the paints are going to tri-coats. So when you see those real fancy, vibrant colors, the bright reds or, the pearl whites, they're all tri-coats compared to, which is a base coat, a mid coat that gives it that pearl or that vibrant look, then a clear coat. So it's a lot of steps, and it takes different things to make sure they match, exactly right.
Bit of a mixologist.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, with paint.
Dave knows a lot of mixologists. Okay?
Hey, Jeff, we know a few mixologists, don't we?
We did. So I just noticed Mike Maddox finally got in, so I can finish up our introductions. I wanted to wait for him. So Mike Maddox is now in. Mike's here in Chesapeake, Virginia. He's the one that's done a lot of work for my vehicles. Him and his wife both are co-owner of the ICAR Collision, and Mike's going to talk to us how he got into this trade now. Go ahead, Mike.
Hello.
There he is.
I spent the first 8 years of my life out of high school in electronics. I worked on F4 radar, but I never loved it. And as I was working in electronics, I started working in my garage painting motorcycles. And I wanted to be a custom painter. And of course, in 83, 84, when the oil embargo came along, that pretty much went south, So I ended up just running a body shop, painting cars, and ended up with a Corvette shop I did a lot of Corvettes, and I custom painted a lot of them. But unfortunately, I'm completely self-taught, so it took me a number of years to get good at this. I don't recommend that to anyone, but I'm currently training 4 different guys who came out of BOE Tech. I have one guy that I actually recruited from an ice cream store, and another who came straight to us from high school. And I love training people. It didn't take me long to realize that the bodymen with 20 and 30 years experience normally didn't do what I wanted them to do. They weren't excited about training, ICAR, things like that. There are a lot of them out there, but some of them just weren't. They felt like they knew enough that they could get by. The younger guys are computer savvy. They're easy to train, and so most of my guys are under 30 years old.
Mike, is there a lot more technology in your business now? Like, is there a lot?
When I first started out, the Corvette electronics manual was probably 30 pages, and now it's 3 manuals. That's the difference. And everything, like we do pre and post scans on every car that come in the shop, unless if it's pre-05, we may not scan it, but anything after 05, we scan pre and post.
And that's a good point you just mentioned, Mike, because you're not just doing the auto body, the paint, and all that. Y'all do have a lot of electrical repairs on these wrecks, right?
Yes. So my initial training certainly wasn't wasted, because it's nice to have a good understanding of electronics, and most people in this business don't have it. Of course, it's not that it's not necessarily, we don't do electronic repairs to the component level at this point, and it's just changing parts and operating a computer, so it's not really that difficult. But there is a lot.
But you can operate those computers much better than the one you were on a little while ago, right?
Yeah.
No, not really.
I think your life is spelled out right now. You know why, Mike? because you came back as Carolyn's iPad. I just have to tell you.
Well, it's just it's the way things work. So,
Chuck, I know you have to have a question for him right now.
Talking about the changes that have been happening in the industry, I remember back when people would go and they'd buy wrecked cars and fix them up and put them on the road and so on. I understand that is kind of not much done these days. Is that right?
I do some of that because the insurance companies are quick to total some of these cars. I just bought an 05 Ford F-150 that to me is an easy repair. It needs front suspension, basically, right front suspension. And it's an easy repair, but because of the lack of value of the vehicle, they totaled it.
And you bought it, and you'll do what with it now?
I'll repair it, put it back on the road and sell it.
I have an Audi. I think I mentioned to you guys in the pregame here. I have an Audi, and it got dinged last year. And boy, I mean, a little ding can be a lot of money on one of those suckers. And it's aluminum, I guess.
Yes.
Aluminum. It's aluminum. I mean, tell me about that. I mean, I didn't know it was aluminum.
It is mostly aluminum. Most of your European cars have some aluminum incorporated in them. And there's just so much you can do with aluminum. I'm driving an 18 Ford F-150 and everything but the frame is aluminum.
Wow.
And we generally have at least 2 of those in the shop at all times. And if you get a crease in a door, for instance, if it's minor, you can fix it. But if it's beyond that, it's just going to break the aluminum and you have to replace the door.
Well, I know when I had a problem, all of a sudden it turned into, I was thinking old school. Oh, this thing got hit. Going to go to the body shop, get fixed up 2 days. I'm going to have this thing. No. First of all, we have to find the Audi. My dealer had to recommend the Audi certified body shop. First of all, they could sign off on it. And then as the repair went on, it got near what I thought was the end. They were talking about sensors. They were talking about all these sensors in the car. And then after what I thought was the end, it had to go to the dealer and get checked for alignment and also talk to me about that in the new cars, these sensors and stuff. I mean, we're thinking about, when I think about Autobody, I have to tell you, I'm just an air conditioning guy, stupid air conditioning guy, but refrigeration guy. But when I think about when you talk about my trade, you're always talking about, how much Freon does it need, or go ahead and put Freon in it. In your trade, I'm always thinking about jam some Bondo in there and sand it down and paint it. But it's nothing like that. It's a lot more technical than that.
The first problem I had with adaptive cruise control was a GMC pickup truck, and we couldn't get it to work, so I sent it to the dealer. The dealer didn't know how to fix the truck. They sent it back to me and told me they could not fix it. So I got on the computer and Googled it, and after about 2 hours of research, I discovered that this sensor, or the radar, has to see 660 feet in front of it. And so I went back and I checked the angle of the bracket. It turned out this bracket was very slightly bent. So the radar was only seeing about 400 feet, and it rejected that. So I had to realign the bracket, and everything was fine. But even the dealer, the guys at the dealer just didn't have that knowledge, because it was so new at the time. But it's not that difficult if you have the right stuff.
OEM repair procedures are huge right now. Anytime a vehicle's wrecked, the OEMs want to fix a certain way.
OEM's original equipment manufacturer.
Yeah. So, Ford, Chrysler, GM, Audi. So, any of those brackets, those things, if those things are a front end accident for us, we have a lot of deer up here. So we have a lot of deer accidents.
I've taken out many deer, more with a car or truck than with
a gun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we love deer. We put corn on the road as much as possible around here, so it works good. So you hit something and you think just the bumper, the grill, those types of damages, but then you run into those adaptive cruise sensors, the radar sensors. And again, yeah, all of those, a bracket might be slightly bent. You can't, according to OEM repair procedures, you can't straighten it. You have to replace that bracket. Then it has to go to the dealer to get calibrated. But we're in the process of actually trying to purchase that equipment to do it in-house here. So, a lot of the shops of the future are going to have to invest in that technology, to be able to do it.
Are you guys, go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to ask how you keeping all your people trained on all that, Aaron,
Yeah. That's
from
my
all the
question.
different manufacturers.
It's tough. ICAR is a huge one. We're ICAR Gold certified, and we have to be for our OEM relationships. We're OEM certified for several OEMs, so they require that. Our direct repair insurance companies require it. So through that training,
And you're paying for
really
all this, right? Y'all are paying for all your employees to do this?
100% paying for all that. So that continual education piece is very important. But it changes. It's probably one of the only fields I can think of that what you do today is correct, but if you look it up tomorrow, they may have changed that procedure tomorrow, so you have to do it different tomorrow. So you have to. They say you can put a quarter panel on a car, you can section it in these areas, or today you can't section the quarter panel, but to reevaluate how to fix that vehicle, then the next day you can do that. So it's constantly changing.
Mike, I think you mentioned to me last night that you've been doing the ICAR as well in our downtime right now.
Yes, our whole crew is doing. They have a deal where you pay like $3,500, and everyone in the shop gets to do ICAR. And for us,
explain ICAR, please.
Pardon?
Explain ICAR.
I can't think of.
What does ICAR mean? What's the pseudonym?
ICAR's group they do training.
Okay, they're a trade organization that provides training.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So just taking classes, they have different, I guess they call modules, different things,
Oh, nice.
These are online, right, Aaron?
A lot of them are online, but they also have hands-on. All the welding ones, aluminum, steel, structural repair, those different ones, they come to the shop and test the guys at our facility.
How many different? It's funny what you just said, Aaron. Like within your industry, because I always equate everything back to Jeb's in my industry. We're refrigeration, air conditioning guys. Whatever, anything in a restaurant or something like that we work on. But in your industry, like in your shop, how many different trades do you need to know to do body work? It sounds like you got welding, you got electrical, you got painting. I mean, how many?
Mixology. Don't forget mixology.
Yeah, mixology.
That's after 5. We get into that. No, I mean, you're naming them off. We start ourselves because we're a little bigger. We segmented, so certain guys do certain procedures of the repair. So we have folks that disassemble the car. Look up the OEM repair procedures. What repairs need to be done. So you have guys disassembling, doing that part. Then you have technicians actually doing the repairs, doing the body work, the structural repair. Then it goes to the paint shop. They do all the work, painting it, reassemble, detail. But actually in the office, we have estimators that, analyze the damage, write the estimates. We have CSR, customer service representatives. They update the customers. They update the insurance people. So there's a lot of different hats, different things, to make everything go.
It sounds to me like when you got into it, there were 4 people in your organization, maybe, right?
When my dad started, it was probably when I started heavily into it. There's probably about a dozen of us or so.
So, but you probably did every job at one time or several jobs every day.
Yes. People absolutely wore multiple hats, to do things all over the place. Yes. And how cars have changed. I mean, like I said, when I started, they had general procedures. You could put on a quarter panel on multiple makes and models in this general, way. Now everything is specific to manufacturer, brand, model, what version of the model that is. So it's definitely a lot more complicated to fix cars today than it used to be.
So are you? I was talking about the Audi, or like, would you guys be certified in different kind of cars? You get certified in different models or makes?
Yes, and we're rural where we're at, so we're a lot more domestic. We're Ford, Chrysler, Honda, Hyundai, a few of the other different ones, GM, because that's what's in our market. It takes a pretty good investment, as any business, I guess, purchasing the tools. So it just takes a lot. For Ford example, when the big aluminum switch, we went to the aluminum panels, we had to buy a $9,000 battery rivet gun to put the panels on, but we had to have that. We had to have that in order to be Ford certified. You know,
how much does one of those rivets cost installed?
I mean, the
about
little
$50 a rivet. I mean, that's what I would charge $50 a rivet.
Well, they're probably a couple bucks a rivet, you know, list. But I tell you though, it makes the job so much easier having the right equipment, you know. But you spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for these certifications, you know. But obviously, you want to fix the cars the right way, and you have to have the tools to do that.
You want to get it back to factory ready, right? Not the goal.
100%. 100%. And as we've talked about a little bit about pre-scan and post-scan. So obviously a lot of the current cars, all these features you enjoy, that, you know, your adaptive cruise, you know, helps you speed up, slow down the cars in front of you. You know, the steering wheel adjusts itself to keep it in the lane. All of those sensors have to be calibrated or checked to make sure there's not faults in the system. But there's so many different sensors that obviously we can see that, you know, if the bumper needs to be replaced, the headlight needs to be replaced, you know, we can see that.
I had a not to bore you with my story again, but last month I got hit by a stone with a 18-wheeler going down the road, hit me with a stone, spider web on the window, right? So I had to get a new window on this Audi Q7 I have. You know, I go down the window, $380 to install a window. Okay. It'll be $350 to calibrate your sensor. There's some kind of sensor behind the mirror or something.
Yep. So that controls, you know, it sees the cars in front of you, so it knows to slow up, speed down.
Yeah.
And that has to be calibrated. Absolutely. You know, so there's a lot, you know, more to, like you alluded to. You think it's just a small repair or replacement. All these other things need to be, you know, taken account for.
If you can afford an Audi 7, I mean, what do you care about $380 windshield, Dave? Come on, come on.
Chuck, does he want to? Chuck, does he want to start with me? He don't want to start with me.
Yeah.
You do not want to start with me.
Hey, look, we do have a question real quick. We did have a question come in about paintless dent repair, Andrew. I'm sorry, Andrew Jones asked about. He says, "What's your thoughts on solely focusing on the paintless dent as a career?"
It's definitely a great career. You know, that takes a great skill and a lot of practice. We outsource that. We have a gentleman that comes in and does that for us, but he's here a few days a week. You know, it's with all of these.
Tell us what that is too. What's paintless dent?
Okay, paintless dent repair is exactly what it sounds. Yeah. If you have a little ding on your door, the paint's not broken. These folks are skilled enough. They have different types of tools or kind of rods with different ends on them, and they can sneak in on the backside of the panel and actually work that dent out. And you can't even tell. These guys are very talented without doing all the paint work and disassembly and everything. So it's a much cheaper alternative, and it's a great alternative too.
Right.
Oh, I've never even heard of that. I stopped today to get a bulb for my motorcycle, and I was walking around the auto parts store today, and I did see they had in the auto parts store a thing you could put on a dent and suck it out. They actually sell something that you can push on.
As seen on TV.
Dent remover tool.
Yeah.
No, it was like on TV with no, there's more.
Or
also get this.
You can use your bathroom plunger too. You know, it's a multi-purpose tool.
You understand the term snake oil, right?
Yeah, I did not buy it. I bought my bulb and left.
There you go.
Hey, Mike and Aaron, a big part of our vision for the show here is to help both parents of kids, you know, as they're coming up, and giving them some options to maybe find the right connection for their kid to get excited about the potential career. Have you had any examples, experience with bringing young folks out to check out what you guys do, and possibly some programs to let them get their hands dirty in it a little bit, the way you grew up, Aaron?
You know, we're very involved with our local BOCES, you know, vocational, you know, schools. We're on the board and try to help with their curriculum of what things they should teach, you know, what level they should be at, you know, when they're completing those programs. So they do tours to our shop, try to introduce different things to them. And we go and visit them, again, giving our opinion or anything we can help with. But we also hire those students during the summer, to help do as much as we can around the shop. When they're on spring breaks or, different vacations, they come in quite often. So it's a good, spot for us to try to get some, new folks in the door that are excited about doing it. And we've had luck with it, so definitely a great thing to get involved with. And it's a good step for students, that enjoy using their hands, working with building things and, to take that next step.
Mike, you also have a relationship with your local BOE Tech, right?
I do. Yes. I've been involved with BOE Tech for probably 30 years now.
And you get them out. They get out what about halfway in their senior year? Just come to work for you half a day.
Yep. And then as soon as they graduate, they become full-time. I currently have 5 different people that are in training. 2 have been with us for quite some time, and they're very good. They can do pretty much anything. We train. I don't have guys that just tear down and fix cars. I have guys that when I bring someone in, I start them out just changing parts basically. And then after a month or so, then I have them start repairing parts. And then they move on from there. They eventually, after about 6 months, I just put them with a technician and they become just a full-time helper working with a regular technician.
So someone misses the free vocational schooling in high school, and then they decide they want to do it, and they go to like one of these ECPIs, ATIs, or one of these schools after. How do they compare as far as job wise when they come in? Are they about the same skill, or are you finding them a little edgier? What are you finding?
Yeah, the guys that go, I occasionally will get some from Lincoln, or I'll get someone from UTI. Excuse me. And these guys have good skills when they come out of school, but they also come out with tuition debt.
How much does that normally cost, Mike? Or
About,
Aaron?
I think 40 or 45,000.
Oh wow, Aaron, what's up there in upstate New York?
I'm not sure. I think it's in the probably same neighborhood. Might be a little less, but in that neighborhood. And I guess the level difference. I mean, some of that's worth the investment, though. If what's nice is you get students that take that next step. They're dedicated. They want to work and do it, and they put in 100%. They made an investment, and usually they hit the ground running at a lower level. Our industry changes so fast. I think it's hard for the schools to keep up with the technology, and I could give you example after example of how things are changing and how fast they're changing. But with those basic skills where I can have a tech come in and immediately put them to work, simply disassembling a car and start fixing some small dents and those things, then you can grow on that. But I think it's important for shops to have a setup or a structure that allows people to come in to start doing that. I think sometimes people get discouraged because, they'll come to a shop and the first thing they do is they get tossed out in the detail bay and they just end up, they went to school, but now they're just washing cars, so they kind of get discouraged with that. So I think it's important to have a clear path for, to develop techs in your shop.
Aaron, are you getting both women and men in this field? I mean, what's the mix there?
We're majority guys, but I do have one female tech. She's an extremely good painter and a very good body tech. Students coming in, I'm getting a mix of them. But so
no reason why a woman couldn't get in this field.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely. Some of the great, and we've had plenty of female techs over the year that's worked for us. And they, like I said, absolutely equal field. Anybody can succeed at it as long as they, put the effort into it and want to succeed at it.
Mm-hmm. Mike works for a woman. Mike, tell us about your boss.
He works for Carolyn, apparently.
My boss is perfect, Jared.
Go ahead. You were saying something, Mike. Go ahead.
This year we had the local skills competition in our shop. And one of the best welders I've ever seen in that competition was a girl, but her father was a welder, and she had been working with him for years. And she went on to the state competition. I don't know how well she did there, but she did go to the state. And we had, I think, 3 different girls in the competition this year. I was happy to see that.
That's great. They're going to
Yeah.
run us all out of jobs, though. We don't have so many women in our industry. They'll take all of our jobs. They're much better.
Well,
Well, I don't think there's any case where they can't do just as good, right?
They do better.
I see. They pay a lot more attention to detail than some of the guys do, for sure. So
Absolutely.
I definitely not. I do see some really. She does some awesome quality work. Like I said, some of the best buffing and body work I've seen. So
What's
she's
the
very good.
what's the like? I even think of my career. Like everybody's got all these great things, but everybody's had like disasters too. Have you like ever had a disaster? Like somebody painted like something wrong, or
Wrong color?
just wonder like a wrong color, or just
Oh,
something where you just shook your head
I don't
and told
wanna
the
say-
customer, "We're going to eat this and everything's good." I mean, we're
Well,
gonna go
hopefully we catch it before it gets to the customer. But we've had some expensive things. If you accidentally drop something, break something. A headlight anymore is $1,200 for a headlight. So an accidental, oops, I dropped it and broke a tab off it. Costs you
bad
some.
hands.
Yeah. Luckily, for the most part, we haven't had any. I'm trying to think of anything, crazy. But I mean, we've had a few where we painted bumper covers for a van, and you have a short wheelbase and a long wheelbase, and you go to stick it on, and it doesn't quite fit.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of explain to the customer, we had to get a different bumper and repaint it. But luckily, we really haven't had any big oops. Just a couple things that cost a couple bucks that we might have broke on accident.
I bet one of the big things you have to deal with too in your career is mitigating between the customer and the insurance company. Do you,
Oh goodness.
yes.
is that a big? I mean, is that a legit thing for you guys?
Absolutely is. Especially for us. Again, we're a direct repair, so that means we have relationships with the company. Instead of, if you get in an accident, a representative of the insurance company comes to your home or to the business, writes the estimate, with the shop. So generally how that works. So a direct repair relationship, we're actually the ones writing the estimate to certain guidelines that are required by an insurance company. They review the estimate, and then then we proceed with a claim. So a big thing is aftermarket parts. So aftermarket parts are made by a separate company. Some are called CAPA certified, so that means they're made to the same specifications as an OEM part, and there's some that are non-certified, so they don't always fit the best. So obviously, if you have your
wait, stop there.
Yep.
So I understand this. When you say aftermarket parts and they don't always fit the best, so maybe I'm not accusing or making up anything, but I'm just trying to understand this. So hypothetically, an insurance company might say, put on an aftermarket part instead of original part. Could that be what it is?
Yes,
Without incriminating yourself.
But again, so no, but that's something I don't think people realize until they get in an accident. Every insurance company, in their policies, are built different ways. Some insurance companies, you have a 2020 vehicle, you drive off the lot and you get an accident on the way out, pulling out of the dealership parking lot. Some insurance companies will put an aftermarket fender on that vehicle with, a few miles on it. But other insurance companies, depending what policies you have.
So that's like when you say, is that a used fender they got off a junkyard?
Sometimes if there's use, but aftermarket, it's a brand new part, but it's not made by that manufacturer. It's made by a different manufacturer.
Okay.
And generally they do fit well. There's different things we do called price matching, where we the OEMs will drop their price to try to match those pricing. So there's a lot of going on in our collision world between OEMs that are getting heavily involved with how they want cars fixed, and insurance companies trying to do it at a cost-effective amount. And making everybody happy, getting the car fixed correctly, and obviously, most importantly, safe.
That's great. Without getting too into as far as the industry, as far as how you run the businesses, I want to get back a little more on the job training and what it takes to get. Let's just say there's a kid right now, 9th or 10th grade right now, that's saying, "Hey, looks pretty cool. What should they do right now?" And that's what we're trying to get to, because if they could take these classes in 11th and 12th for free, they could save that, $30,000 or so y'all are talking about for these same classes, after school.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, taking those high school programs, getting involved, and really working at it is a very good start. And if you can get involved with a local shop just to get in the door. I mean, unfortunately, sometimes at the high school level, you might have to start out sweeping or, enough to get
Washing
your
cars.
foot in the door, washing cars.
That's right.
But as
Right.
soon as that next opening, we hire within, we promote within. So as soon as that next opening opens up, hey, give them a shot to do that.
And
Hey,
then hopefully
Mike.
that answers Timmy Tyler's question, because he asked about that. He says that he was at a body shop. They put him on the car washing for a few months. He grew tired of it, went on to transmission work, but they got to understand this is character development. This is kind of seeing what you're made of before you produce, right?
Well, that's the truth. Mike, what would be 5 things, to Jeb's point, if you had 5 things, 3 or 5 things that if you had a high school kid that was ambitious and wanted to go into this industry, what would be like the 5 things you would tell him he would like that would make him flourish coming into your operation?
Just be aggressive, be attentive, do whatever you have to do to stay in that job. I start guys out as detailers, and they'll work like half a day doing detail work, and the other half doing other things, prepping or priming. I start guys out as I move them along as quickly as I can. So for the guys that really work hard, within a month, they're priming and maybe even painting some small things, doing door jambs, things like that. And we rarely cut in parts, but occasionally we'll paint the inside of a hood before we put it on. And if we do that, then that person is able to do that. And we let them do it because it's good practice. And there's no, if it's less than perfect, it's still acceptable to some extent, as long as it's reasonably good. And they have to be, my first thing is to make them a good employee. I want them to be good enough as an employee that someone else would also like them. They have to show up on time. They have to understand they're going to work hard. If they need to work Saturday, I don't require that, but I would like them to occasionally volunteer or maybe work a little late when necessary. Basically just being a good employee and show me that you love the job and that you're really interested. I'm at a point in my life where if I think someone isn't going to survive, I don't want to waste my time training them. But if I think someone is really into this job, I really work hard with them, and I enjoy seeing them mature, in the business. I've trained a lot of people in my life because I started in this business in 1972. And one of my first employees was right out of high school. And he was a very aggressive young kid. He was a street racer. He loved cars, and he loved working for me because I was doing Corvettes. And he turned out to be a very good technician. And I realized that it was a good relationship. It was good for him, good for me. And I've continued that over the years. I've trained many people in this area.
Would you say that love of cars is key to being a great auto body tech?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. For me, I had a great job in electronics. I had a good job. Most people were envious of my job, but I did not love the work. And I worked civil service, which wasn't where I wanted to be. And at that time, I didn't have much of an opportunity for advancement. And I was working out of my garage, and I really loved working out of my garage. So I just decided one day I'm just going to quit and work out of the garage. And within a month, I had a building, and I never regretted that. To this very day, I don't regret it. And even today, when I get up in the morning, I'm eager to go to work.
There's that word again, guys. Passion,
Eager, passion,
right?
work.
That P word.
Yes.
What'd you say, Mike? Passion?
I have a great deal of passion for my work. I do. And when I see that in a trainee, I know that person's going to succeed. Because if you have that passion, nothing's going to stop you.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
What's your observation on passion for the work, Aaron?
Oh, I agree. I mean, Mike's, spot on with his comments there. I mean, you would think, but it's come to work on time, but sometimes it's hard to get somebody to do that, not to be on your phone all day. And so we're seeing that stuff, when, we're getting some of the younger generation in. But yeah, those students that are, like you said, passionate, enjoy cars, hands-on working on things, or even, different things. They're the ones that get it, and they're the ones that I want to take time, to help, So absolutely agree 100%. It's a great field. You like I said, you love working, using your hands, and to see something built, something came in one condition, you can see a final product.
Yeah. There's gratification right there,
gratification, right? Absolutely.
You guys both sound like people that would be good mentors to young guys, or you know what? Even I always say young people, young guys, young girls coming to the trade. This even sounds like somebody that's for a second career. If a 40-year-old guy, you were in electronics before, Mike. Aaron, you came in through your dad. 40-year-old guy decides he doesn't want to sit in a cubicle anymore. He's been selling life insurance or whatever, and that's going down the road.
Absolutely. We've hit, and I know other shops and there's different programs out there, but you get folks coming out of the military, they might not have the knowledge, but they have that work ethic, that dedication. You have that, we can teach the repairs, everything else, if you have all that foundation to start with, you can teach them anything. So, we've had some people come here, after the service. One of my mechanics, very good. Same thing, he has some experience, and he's just built on it over time. He's been very good.
Aaron, I know you're up in, upstate New York, and you might be a little higher up there. But to that guy, that just comes out of the military, that kid that comes out of high school, whatever, and they come straight to you, and they are just, doing the deal. Everything they're supposed to do, staying late, working hard, going home, watching YouTube video after YouTube video from every professional showing their tricks. How fast and how much can they make? I mean, we're talking straight from the washing the cars all the way to the guy that's spraying all day long, because we know
the range.
We know that sprayer. That guy's got the icing. I mean, that's where the money's at. So,
and obviously that's a big question we get. Obviously, students want to know, what they're going to make, and like I said, you have to understand it's a skill set that you have to acquire over time and build on that. Somebody coming in, starting to disassemble cars. And again, every market's going to be different. Again, we're upstate, we're rural. Where you guys at, a bigger city, it may be different. So, $14-15 an hour, tearing cars apart, getting started that way. Then my guys that are a lot faster is called flat rate. And I don't know if you're familiar with.
Oh, yes.
But so flat rate, you get paid 10 hours to fix a car. Obviously, the car has to be fixed correctly, but if you fix it in 8, you still get paid for 10. So the guys that are organized, guys and girls are organized fast, to repair things. They're making 80. They're doing 80 hours a week, getting paid for 80 hours a week, but only working 40. So we have techs doing 60 to 80,000 fairly easy here. But
within a few years.
Well, within a few years, that pick it up pretty quick. But you compare that to a teacher in our area here that goes on and gets their master's. I think they're making around 60,000. So you're making more than some of the investment, but you're not getting that debt, that they're incurring, and then they're trying to pay back as well too. But I know different markets, there's painters making well over $100,000 in your bigger metro areas and stuff. So again, it's all, relative to what area you are. So that it's all over the place.
I actually posted some ads on the page today or yesterday. Offers, 120, 140,000 sprayers asking right now, trying to hire.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And then we see that in the bigger metro areas. We're part of a big group of shops that meet quarterly, go discuss different things. And there's a gentleman I know in California, he's offering $120,000 for an estimator to write estimates. So there depends where you're located. you know,
So you're
it'll
getting
vary.
And
you're
you
getting
hustle.
together with other people for best practices or something between your shops, maybe in different geographical areas, something like that.
Correct. And we
Yeah.
talk about what's changing in the industry as things are changing so much, and, you know, just different things. But that's how we stay on top of, you know, what's changing out there, being involved in these different groups and stuff.
If somebody was in high school, okay, let's just hypothetical. We got a guy graduating. He's taking some shop classes, not necessarily auto body. Maybe he took one class or something like that. So he's getting out of high school. He's graduating. Of course, nobody's graduating this year. Everybody's just getting virtual graduation, but whatever's going on. But anyway, he's coming to seek you guys out. He's coming to seek either. I want to answer from both of you guys. He's coming to seek you out. Well, he's walking through your door. This kid's 17, 18 years old, has decided he doesn't want to invest, you know, a lot of money or invest his parents' money into a bachelor's degree or can't afford it. Isn't even sure he wants to get a 2-year degree, but he's really interested in cars and he's really interested in body work. He's coming through your door. What do you want to see to hire this guy? Mike, tell me what you want to see. He's coming through your door.
I generally, you know, I can generally talk to somebody for 5 or 10 minutes. And
I like that. I could do that too.
They're just certain personality traits you pick up on, you know, and you know, some people just immediately know, gee, I want to work with this guy.
So you want him to be enthusiastic, right?
That's right. Yeah, and he has, you know, he has to come in. He has to look good, dress good. I want someone that's intelligent enough that they can actually speak, because, you know, these people have to read instructions, and they have to have the ability to read and comprehend. Otherwise, they're going to make mistakes, and we, in a high volume shop, you just can't tolerate mistakes.
So you would want the guy to come in to your shop. This is the guy coming right out of high school. And the reason I'm asking this question, this is for not only the students out there, but the parents out there that are listening in. And this is what we're gearing up for, people. All right, you're going to get out of school. You don't want to go through a bachelor's degree program. You're not even sure you want a 2-year degree. You might end up getting both. You don't know, okay? But right now, your interest is auto body. You're walking into Mike's shop, okay? You're going to see Mike Maddox in Chesapeake, Virginia, and you're walking through the door. This is, hey, he's giving you the recipe right now. I want you to come in well-dressed. I want you to come in on time. I want you to come in with a goal. I want you to come in with a passion. I want you to ask questions while you come and see me. I want you to ask me questions, right, Mike? You want them to ask you questions, right?
Yes.
Right? I want you to be engaged, okay? How about you, Aaron?
Oh, I agree 100%. As you mentioned, you know, asking questions or just showing that you've put some effort in. Hey, I was, like you said, I YouTubed this, or I looked up, I noticed, you know, that I'm seeing, you know, these new cars have more sensors, you know, what's it taking to do that? Just to show you put some extra work into besides just showing up, hey, give me a job, you know? Yeah, again, but that's part of that passion, you know, it's putting that extra effort into it, and it makes a difference. And like Mike said, I can tell talking to someone that if they get it or not, you know, I can, you know, if you tell them, you know, do this, this, and that, you know, they don't do step one, then they're not sure, well, what'd you say about 2 and 3? Or, you know, that problem solving. Okay, I can't figure this out without every second, well, what do I do next? What do I do next? You know, so having that, you know, characteristic, we can tell, you know, talking with them and feeling them out.
What do you think, Chuck?
Well, I want to just say a little bit about my background as far as body work. I grew up actually with Aaron's dad. He lived just down the street, and we did everything together. Learned how to fill in the rust holes in our upstate New York vehicles, and sand it down and prime it, and maybe get around to actually putting real paint on it, or I might go around with a red fender on a blue car for a while or something. We did all kinds of great stuff. But I got to watch Chris, Aaron's dad, as he came up through that, and actually then went off to school for a couple of years, as 2-year college in Pennsylvania. Then he became opened his own shop, and just grew from there, as Aaron had said. And it was just always fun to be in touch with him, because as he was always on top, out ahead of folks when it came to the new technology and approaching what was going on in the auto body world, and the enthusiasm he had. And I always appreciate the artistic part of the
Sorry,
job.
did you say artistic or autistic?
Well,
You talking about Mike? Were you talking about Mike?
But yeah, and so yeah, Chris, he was best man at my wedding, and
Sounds like
transitioning-
you're proud of him.
Yes, very proud.
You were proud of your friend.
Yep, and I'm proud of Aaron for being able to step up into that, into those shoes, and you're doing great. And I'll give a bit of a plug for my book, if you can see it here, The Road Home. And actually, Chris Goodrich, Aaron's dad, is mentioned or discussed in this book some of our escapades way back when in upstate New York.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to read that section on the broadcast here.
Yeah, probably not.
Aaron, how was it working coming up with the family? Because I've been there, done that too. How was that coming up?
Not bad. Fortunate we have a big shop, so we can always go to the front to the back there. So it wasn't like Orange County choppers where they're throwing stuff or anything. It wasn't anything like that. But we're a lot alike. We should, it's the same passion. We really enjoyed building hot rods and things after hours. So we spent a lot of time together. So we got along really well. I couldn't call in sick to work very easily and get away with it.
No. And
but,
you usually get paid less too.
I do, and it goes uphill and downhill. Always ended up on me. So no matter what it was, I took the rap somehow.
That's great.
But no, it's always been a great atmosphere. We're a family atmosphere here, so it's a really great environment to work in, and that's another thing. Like I said, I haven't been in a lot of other shops, just visiting and stuff. Obviously, being raised in this one, but for the most part, the atmosphere to work with other folks and stuff is a great field.
That's a special thing there, Chuck. I know for you to be able to see Aaron
Yeah,
be the successful, and Aaron, it sounds like you're very humble. Okay, as far as somebody that came up through the ranks, but I can also tell you're a really good businessman.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it.
And if I was coming into Autobody, I don't think you want me now. But I'm always younger. If I was coming into Autobody, both of you guys are both people that I would want to be with. Okay, Aaron, you have the generational thing there, and Mike and I share a lot of the same things. When Mike was listing his 5 things, okay, it was literally my 5 things. Like Mike doesn't really care if you even know what a door handle is, okay, on a car, as long as you want to know what a door handle is, and you show up on time, you show up looking good, you make a promise, you keep it. You clean up after yourself, and you ask good questions. Mike, isn't that pretty much what you want?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, all right.
All those things you can't teach in school. We can teach the rest. We can't teach those things.
And you know what? This podcast is not. This is our 3rd week. We've had nurses, we've had HVAC people, we've had you guys, and I've learned a lot tonight. I was really looking forward to this because I always say this to people like Jeb and I walk into a Kentucky Fried Chicken or a supermarket or wherever, we know what's going on. Like when we walk in these places, we know what's going on everywhere. Like we know how the chicken's made, we know how the thing is roasted, toasted, whatever it is. We know all this stuff. We know how the air conditioning's made and all that. So that's our comfort zone. We go in there. But guys that redo cars, I don't know how that goes. Okay, they won't let me pass the sign that says no one can pass here. Okay, so there's they're baking cars back there, and they're doing this, and they're knocking dents out and doing that. And I don't know that world, so it's really interesting for me to learn somebody else's trade.
I'm actually learning that trade right now, Dave, because I I'm at Mike's place like 3 days a week doing work over there. We're doing the air conditioning, we're doing the lighting, we're watching them fix all my cars, all my trucks that keep getting wrecked. I'm learning a lot about the auto trade at Mike's dime.
How's
Well,
your
is it-
Audi? Jim?
Plus my Audi. How's your Audi, Jeb?
No Audi
Anyway,
here.
no, but what I'm saying is it's interesting for me to learn that, but the one common theme, like forget about whatever, the one common theme I've seen, this is our third podcast, nurses. And again, the theme of this is things that you can get into as a career that you don't need to have a bachelor's. You may go on to get one, and that's all well and good. You may go on to get a 2-year degree. That's all well and good. But our theme is to get into careers that you don't need that. If you get that, it's great. We're all for it. But the one common thing I see is the passion. It's the passion. Like people that get into Autobody, they have a passion. People that get into nursing, they have a passion. People that get into HVAC, a little crazy, have a passion. Okay. All right. But that's is that your take, Chuck?
Absolutely. It's like working in the live power section. Do not reach beyond this. It's 250,000 volts or something.
Yeah, you guys have a special secret, like a secret handshake between the Autobody people that we don't know about. I hope you told us all about it tonight. But you certainly taught me a lot about the sensors and stuff. I didn't know a lot about that.
And I guess, it's a separate thing, and I don't want, but the future of, auto repair, obviously you're hearing more and more cars are going to be driving themselves and stuff. That's, you always hear doom and gloom, there won't be any more accidents and things, and we're seeing the amount of accidents going down, but the repair costs are going up. So there's just as much, to keep busy. This industry, we're going to still continue to fix cars. They're so far away from autonomous vehicles. There's 5 levels. We're at level 2. So there's so much infrastructure that needs to go in to get to that point. So I don't want, students coming up through discouraged that at some point, it's going to be a dying industry, because it absolutely isn't.
Good point. I like
Good
that.
stuff there.
Mike's at the end of his career. He's seen it all. Cars were black and white when he was coming up. There was no color. It was all black and white. He had two colors of paint, black or white. That was it.
Like Jeb told me, you fixed Fred Flintstone's shoes, okay, when he was doing the Yabba Dabba Doo down the road there. Mike, what is that behind you? I mean, I know it's Carolyn's iPad, but what is that scene?
Some pins. You? Those are his pins.
It's pins.
I can tell you this. I go to lunch with Mike frequently, and he must hand out 30 of those every time we go to lunch.
Well, that's good. I like good marketing. I like it. I like it.
Well, we are at our hour mark. I just wanted to say thanks to the panel. I mean, I heard it again tonight. This is 3 weeks in a row. Passion. I couldn't tell you. I want to go back and count how many times that word's come up in the last 3 episodes. But
the P word.
Yeah, and moral is follow your passion, and the money will come. The money will follow every time. Just stay with the passion.
You can't be bad at a job that you love.
That's right.
And it's not work if you get up and go there every day and you love it, right?
That's right.
It's your hobby.
Aaron, any closing remarks from you, Aaron? Well, we appreciate you coming on too.
No, I agree. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. No, I like I said, folks out there interested in the field, it is absolutely a great career path. And it's a fun one. I look forward to coming to work every day. 40 hours is just the start of it for me. But, when you do that, though, when you love what you do, and time flies by, and 40 hours a week is nothing. You have a good time and enjoy it. So no, it's a great thing. And like I said, if you love fixing cars, absolutely pursue it.
That's great. Mike, what you got to close out, Mikey?
I still put it, everyone thinks I should be retired. I still put in 60 hours a week. And I love talking about what I love doing.
He spends 30 of those hours at Starbucks.
Well, that's another passion.
Mike,
whatever works, Mike. You put your time in. I'm all for it.
Thanks for coming on, Mike. I love busting your balls. Yeah. Dave, anything closing? Oh, so go ahead, Mike. You want to?
No, I just wanted to thank both of you before I hand off to Chuck here. I just wanted to thank both of you. I admire your industry a lot. Okay, I admire your work ethic, and I've learned a lot. Okay, I feel like you're two guys I could call up if I had a question. And if anybody out there is listening, you know, you get a hold of Jeb, you want to get a hold of these guys. I think these guys would answer your question about entering this industry here. They'd take all the time you need. If you're a student out there or a parent or somebody want a second career change, these are your guys here. This is your resource. And the key to life is using your resources. So use these guys, get a hold of us. We'll put you in touch with them. And I really appreciate you guys coming on. You're true professionals, and I love that no matter what the industry is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chuck, the inspiration.
Yes, one last bit. I sure appreciate you guys coming out. Well, being with us tonight. Didn't have to go anywhere. But
And thanks, Carolyn.
yes, I was just thinking of the sense of community that I would feel when I was at the Goodrich Auto Works. I mean, and I'm sure it's the same with your shop, Mike. At a auto body shop, it's like everybody's passing through, and what you do ends up back out on the street. You get to see it out there, what you and your folks have done for people, getting them back on the road. And it's an industry I think a whole lot of people should take a serious look at, especially if they love cars. Anybody that has that real passion for cars. But thanks again.
All right, and with that, it's a wrap. See us next week. We'll announce.
Aaron, Mike, thanks.
See you tomorrow, Jared.
Absolutely.
Yep.